really an honor to be here to talk with you all today. For those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Jessica Robinson. I stand for safety, freedom, and inclusion. I believe in a world where taking refuge in inclusion increases the safety and freedom of everybody. My message is very simple. Harness your personal power to create safe spaces, which will be a running theme of tonight's presentation. When I first started, and I was starting my career off, I was working with Target. And I was with Target when we had a data breach. And when we had the data breach, it was, at this point, it was about, I spent nearly 10 years there. And I had seen everything, and many things that you would kind of expect to see in that time frame. Robberies, homicides, suicides, sexual misconduct, sexual assaults, victims of rape. I even recovered a child that was registered with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So you people would think all this would happen in the retail industry, but it does. And it's really my job to make sure that it doesn't hit the media. I'm doing my job, it's not going to hit the media. But when the cyber attack happened, we were in a whole new world, as you can imagine. And I learned a lot. I will never forget getting a phone call from a customer, I guess. And with my role here in New York City, I was helping to run a partnership, a $600 million market. There were about 3,000 team members within this pyramid. 60 to 80 were asset protection or security that reported up into my area. And all of the questions that we were getting during this time, within the first few days of the cyber breach, all the questions that we were getting, if they were really, really challenging, or the person that was calling was really, really upset, I was getting all of those calls. Because the security person, I'm a person that can de-escalate these types of situations. And there was one person who was calling from California. He said, my card was used in one of your stores in New York, and I want you to find out who it was, and I want to press charges, and I want the video, and I want any documentation. I said, sure, no problem. So I went back, asked my team to review the video, and they reviewed everything that they could in terms of the transaction information, but there wasn't any. So I went back to them and said, hey, do I have the right information? Can you send it to me again? Again, there was nothing. So I went back and I said, look, I'm really sorry, but there's nothing I can do for you right now. And he said, well, there needs to be something for you to do. He said, I just deposited my check into my bank account, and all my money is basically gone. And I don't get paid again for another 2 weeks. So you're telling me I can't feed my children tonight? Because you can't, because of this whole situation that's going on with Target, and you can't seem to find information around this particular transaction? And I was like, okay. Well, let me see what I can do. Clearly, this obviously is a very serious situation, as all of them are, but you're saying you can't feed your children. So, of course, I escalated it, and it went all the way to headquarters. But at the end of the day, there was only so much that we could do. And the resolution was, at that time, it was still months, if not a couple years away. But what's really stuck with me was the fact of just how personal this was. This man needed to feed his children. And there wasn't anything that I can do to solve that problem. And as a problem solver of someone in security, it's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. And what was a great lesson for me was how personal all this is. Every single cyber attack that happens is so incredibly personal to all of us. And I thought, if this can happen to a $70 billion company, a company with 360,000 team members and employees across the world, and a company with 1,800 stores, that these small and medium-sized businesses really have a chance. So I share this to say that 60% of online attacks, and this is just in 2014, were targeted to small and medium-sized businesses. In 2012, there was a study done by Verizon. They looked at 855 attacks that took place that year. 71% of those were targeted to small and medium-sized businesses. Anyone have employees, less than 100 employees within their business? So 71% of those attacks were targeted to companies that had less than 100 employees in their business. And so the question always comes up, well, this is information that's out there. Sometimes we know it, sometimes we don't. But why is Is it because we have a lack of knowledge around the area? It's not going to happen to me. Kind of having that mentality. Do we really not know? And we just have to kind of learn and get educated on the topic? Or do we think that I'm too small and it won't happen to me? After I left Target, I've had my business now for 2 years. So when I first started my business, I was working with a woman, a solopreneur. Do we have any solopreneurs in the room? Okay, all right, great. I was working with a solopreneur, and she came to me, said her role, she was a notary, but she was kind of a do-it-all person. And one of her clients at the time was a real estate company. It was her job to kind of be the go-between between the client and the real estate company. So the client of the real estate company was out in California. So she was doing contracts, and this particular person in California was paying $10,000 to purchase new property and putting a down payment on it. And she was the person that was really facilitating this. And a couple days after she started the process, and the person sent their bank account information to her, it took $10,000 was deposited from the account, or withdrawn from the account, but it wasn't by the real estate owner and the owner of that company. And so when she told me this, I just kind of paused for a second. I said, well, what happened to the $10,000 if your client didn't take it out? And she said, well, apparently they were able to find out that the email that she sent me was rerouted to China. And someone converted the numbers from the account. They withdrew the $10,000, and then they sent us a different number. And I thought, that's right, okay. I said, so what can I do to help you right now? She said, well, my computer had been running really slow. I was using my AOL account instead of my business account. I really think that I was the one that was at fault here. I said, okay, does your client know that? She said, yeah. Okay. So I was like, now we have a reputation issue for her, with her own client. And her client has a reputation issue with his client. So I said, well, this is what we're going to do. We created a plan. I said, the first thing we're going to do is make sure you're using your business account for all your business transactions and communication. That's the first thing. She used Microsoft, so, and I support Microsoft as well, so it's a good story for what we're going to talk about a little bit later today. The second thing we did was to make sure that she updated antivirus on her computer. So the malware that was on there needed to come off. She just wanted a scan and to make sure that she was good there. The third thing she needed to do was update her passwords for her email, and then really any other accounts that she'd been using on her laptop. And then the fourth thing, she needed to have a sit down with her client, and she really needed to have a short script on what she was going to say to him to help rebuild that relationship, because now trust had been lost. And so we did all of that with her, and that was really the first step for her to then start working with that client again. Because she had, after all this had happened, they just hadn't spoken. Which goes into the next question: is do we really understand what the consequences are when it comes to either being really big, like a Fortune 50 company, or being super small, like a solopreneur, and many of us are? The consequences can be very much the same, but just maybe way a bit different. It can be loss of trust with stakeholders, clients, the public, loss of reputation, loss of a client, loss of a job. Was that Target? A CEO lost his job. So what I want you guys to know, and I don't want to take the air out of the room and scare you guys, today's presentation is all about empowering every single one of you to harness your personal power to create safe spaces for yourself and for your business. And also for your clients, for your employees, people that you work with. No one has to be hostage to all of these things that are going on in the world. I find that the people that are most successful are the people that are truly empowered, and they create opportunities for themselves, but they also make a point to take control of their own situation. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So let me ask you guys this. What do you guys think of when you hear about the big companies, the data breaches that have taken place in the United States? What do you guys think of, and what companies do you think of?
Well, I think of Target, and I think of, oh, it's only going to happen to the big companies.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and so
She said I didn't hear that.
the U.S. government. So I'll say that that's actually a great segue. So when the Target breach happened, I was a victim too. I got the email, just like a lot, maybe 70 million people said, you've been a victim of this breach. This is when the OPM attack happened last year, I was a victim of that too. I got a letter in the mail, said your information had been breached. So one quick tip I'm going to give you guys right now is if you ever get a letter like that, whatever they're offering you, take whatever they're offering you. It may be 3 years of credit monitoring. Whatever it is, just take it. It's the easiest thing that you can do as an individual, as part of your response plan to something like that. All right, so what other companies do you guys think of?
Home Depot.
Home Depot, yeah.
Newman Marcus.
Yeah, Neiman Marcus. Verizon. Sony. Citibank, Chase. Yes, there was. Yes, no, it begins with an A.
Anthem.
Yes, thank you. Anthem, yes. Yeah.
Well, another member who told me that her website was hacked last week.
Okay.
So, are you gonna tell us what to do with that?
Yeah, so, we will talk with that. Yeah, we will talk about that.
Makes me want to stop using my debit card instead of just credit.
One good idea?
Yeah.
But Andrew, you don't credit repair, so this is all good for you, right?
That doesn't matter, that doesn't matter, it's terms when you use your debit card, it's your bank account that can be hacked, rather than a credit card, we have zero liability.
Yeah, and I have had 3 fraud on my debit card this last year.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. And I think that's the toughest one, at least for me personally. And, even going back to the story that I said about the gentleman earlier, but that was his case. He took his debit card and now he couldn't feed his kids.
I think one other thing, which, when you're talking about corporations or entities that are hacked, I don't know other people in the room, but I get these spam emails.
Yeah.
That come from legitimate people I know,
Yeah.
and, they're obviously links to purine things generally, or, some kind of concoction that using way whatever. That's also a form of censorship.
It really is. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later. But what I will say is I think that's a really great point, and I think it's a really important tip. And when that happens, you receive an email from someone you know, and they're sending you something that they would never send you. You want to quickly get out of that email, you want to delete that email, you want to let them know. Because their email's been hacked. And that email didn't just go to you, it went to probably everyone in their network. And it's bad enough that that's on their personal email. It's really bad if that is on your company email. Okay, because each one of those are entry points that someone can have into your business. So again, today is all about empowerment and really helping you guys to really harness what you can do to create a safe space for yourself, your business, and your employees. So the first one is strategy. You want to have the right strategy. And the most important thing that I want you guys to know about having the right strategy is it doesn't have to be this big thing that is overwhelming to think about, and how do I create a cyber prevention strategy, or how do I create a cyber response strategy? My challenge for you guys today is that of everything that I say, just take 2 things. Just take 2 things you're going to use going forward in 2016. That is it. And you know what? That can be your plan. That can be your strategy. Just those 2 things. Okay? Just know whether those 2 things are going to be for cyber prevention or they're going to be for cyber response. Okay? You know what you need for your business. Okay? What I will tell you is that 79% of small business owners do not have a cyber response plan. And if they don't, then odds are they certainly don't have a prevention plan. So just decide which one you want to have, a prevention plan or a response plan, and which 2 things are you going to take today from today's presentation and implement into your business. Antivirus and password management. This is huge. What I'll also tell you is that these are probably the 2 easiest things that you can do, and 2 things that you have most control of in your